Inventory is low, having bidding wars still. The market seems like it's shifting, but the right property is getting a bunch of bids still. What do I do in today's market? Well, in this video, we're going to be going over an option to offset these things. So if you're just tuning in, this is Marvin with the Council Real Estate Group talking today about the FHA 203k program. So it's an amazing program where it allows you or enables you to borrow money to purchase the house and to renovate it as a first-time home buyer for a single family, 2-family, 3-family, and 4-family. So it's an amazing program. So let's say I'm borrowing $70,000 to buy a house, and then I'm borrowing $30,000 to renovate it. I'm just getting one loan for $100,000, and the FHA loan only requires me to put down 3.5% of the whole entire loan amount that I'm borrowing. So a lot of people are thinking, well, how much do I know or can I borrow for the actual renovation? So you're going to kind of create that budget, and you're going to be talking to your real estate agent. You're going to be talking to the loan officer. So you guys can come up with a strategy together to actually come up with this budget that will enable you to buy the house, and where the budget is not too large, we're actually going over like your pre-qualification or over what the value of the house is. So for instance, if the house after the renovation is going to be done worth only $120,000, if I bought the house for $70,000 and my renovation was for $70,000, well, I probably overestimated or did too many upgrades. So you can kind of scale back on the upgrades. Now, we can talk about a whole bunch of minor details because the FHA 203k actually allows you to borrow up to 110% of the future value, but we're not going to get too detailed on today's video. So if you ever want the extra fine details, please feel free to reach out, and we can get on a conference call or a video call with the lender. So today is mostly surface information. It's going to be some really good surface information, some detailed surface information. So there's a streamline and a non-streamline FHA 203k. So the streamline allows you to borrow up to $35,000. So for instance, if I'm borrowing borrowing $70,000 to renovate a house or to purchase a house, and I'm borrowing $35,000 to renovate it. So technically I'm getting a loan for $105,000. But once I go over the $35,000, I go into a non-streamlined FHA 203k. They're a little harder from my experience to kind of get into, because you are now dealing with a contractor. But just side note, the first house I purchased was a non-streamlined FHA 203k. I still love the program, hands down. You just have to be a little more hands-on with the contractor and what's called the HUD inspector. So you have a streamline and a non-streamline, right? So either way, in either option, you're going to need a licensed contractor to come out and do the work, because they are the ones that have to pull all the permits and make sure that all the work is done that's permitted and done by a licensed contractor, making sure that the work you said was going to be done is, gets to the value of the actual property. So it's not like you can do the renovations yourself and stuff like that. But I mean, maybe if you're cool with the contract, he might let you do some painting to save a couple bucks. But for the most part, you're going to just be hiring the contractor. So for instance, what they do in the streamline is pretty awesome. So if you borrow, let's say $10,000, now remember, you're coming up and creating this budget. So they're going to give you 35% of the funds up front. And then once the job is complete, they send an inspector out to come and check to see if the job is done. Then they cut the check for the other 65%. Now the check is cut to you and the contractor for the first disbursement, and the second disbursement, again, it's cut to you and the contractor. So after that's done, you want to wash your hands with it, and you move into your property. Now you also have 60 days to complete the renovation, but remember, it's not a major renovation, it's a streamline, so you're only doing up to $35,000 worth of renovations. Remember, they do hold 10% in reserves, so this is just a small caveat and a small thing to remember, which is kind of huge. So if your renovation comes up to $35,000, they're going to put a 10% of that in reserves, and that's going to put you over the $35,000 threshold, and then you're into a non-streamlined FHA 203k. So you probably want to be around like 30, between 28 and $31,000, and then add the 10%, and then you'll be under your $35,000 streamlined FHA 203k. And if I'm speaking a lot, please rewind or just reach out. I can maybe try to explain in a different perspective, or give you another perspective. But again, just hit the rewind button and kind of go over that again. I know it's a little dense, but I'm just telling you like the minor / major details into the FHA 203k before you actually explore the idea of getting into one of these type of loans. Now, the upfront funds for the streamline, the inspection's not a HUD inspector, but the non-streamline is done by a HUD inspector, and there's no disbursement of funds up front. So you have, let's say if the first disbursement or the first segment of the renovation is going to come up to 8,000, your contractors and one actually fronting that. So they're front that work for the materials and everything like that. And then once they're done with that portion of it, they'll call you, the home buyer, and you'll get in touch with the renovation department. They'll send the HUD inspector out, and they'll make sure that these items were completed, and then they'll sign off and give you that disbursement back and reimburse everyone, the contractor. So it's a great way to get into a first-time home when there's no inventory. Like, yes, there is houses out there, and yes, the market has maybe normalized a little bit, especially on the single family market, because of the rates and everything. But we still have, especially in our area, I'm in the Springfield, Mass area, Hampden County, Hampshire County, there's still a shortage of inventory here. So when there's a shortage of inventory, the right inventory comes out, there's bidding wars, there's still over asking, so that stuff still exists. Where the other properties where I can't, I don't have to have this house right now. It's not like the best house that I want. I really want this house. Those are really kind of just staying on the market, right? But that really nice house that comes on the market, turnkey, move-in ready, and everybody's still bidding on those. So with those properties that are kind of staying on the market, we're actually incurring a normalized market. Those are sitting there, you can take advantage of the FHA 203k. Now, a lot of people, the market's shifted a little bit too, and a lot of people that know about the FHA 203ks are really pushing this toward like bank-owned properties, which there aren't much out there right now. But it's really designed for like, this property is a house I want. I can see myself and my family in this house. I just want to redo the kitchen, or I just want to redo the bathroom, or I just want to do the floors and repaint the property. That's what it was designed for. So you can borrow money just to do the kitchen over to make your dream kitchen. And then you can do the other parts of the other components of your house later on down the line. So I think it's a great program. And you can also use it again. If there's no multifamily out there, you guys that are first-time investors or want to kind of invest and, get into the multifamily space, it's a great way. You can find a discounted 3-family house, or a discounted 2-family house, or a discounted 4-family house, which there aren't many in this area. But if you find a discounted 2-family house, you can, put in an offer on that property, present it with an FHA 203k. And another beautiful thing about the FHA 203k too is FHA has, federal guidelines. So the house for the most part has to be habitable. So if the house has to be habitable, there's a few things that cannot happen in order to purchase this house. You can't have broken glass, chipping, peeling paint, holes in the wall, a destroyed porch, trip hazards, anything like that, like some type of electrical types, like fuse boxes and stuff like that. I believe it's Federal Pacific boxes. That would be and oftentimes if some of those things are cited in the appraisal, you can't purchase the property until those things are actually addressed. Well, with the FHA 203ks, what you would do is you would put those items inside the estimate, and it enables you to still purchase the property and move forward. And because all those things that failed an FHA appraisal inspection can be put in the FHA 203k, so it allows you to actually purchase the house. So it's a beautiful, beautiful option. Not a lot of people like to do them. So I get it, because there's other parties, other moving parts. Whereas the contractor, is the license, is the insured, the property, is it going to actually close? Is a first-time home buyer actually ready and willing to take on something like this? So there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things to think about as an agent. So there aren't many agents that help with the FHA 203k because they might not be too comfortable with it. But I'm very comfortable with it. I've actually done two of them myself, done this twice. So I think it's a great option and a great opportunity for, especially in this type of market that we're in, where there's not a lot of inventory. When there's not a lot of inventory, I have a lot of options. But if you're willing to take on something like this, and keep in mind, those HD TVs of the world really helped us too, helped the consumer and the first-time home buyer really be optimistic and say, yes, I can do this. But oftentimes it's like, well, I don't have the money. I would like to get into this type of property and do these things myself, or have a contractor do these things, but how do I do the money? Where do I get the money from? And you can definitely get the money from the FHA 203k. So again, it's money to borrow to buy the house and money to borrow to renovate the house. So it's an awesome program. So just keep in mind, it's still normal bank loan. Like I oftentimes, and I'll probably make a video on this too, on the $100 down HUD home. People think I have $100 or I have 3.5% down to put down on an FHA 203k. Yes, those are all components of it, but you still need certain things when you're purchasing a house, right? You need a certain credit score. You need to be working at your job for a couple of years with reported income. You have to file your taxes appropriately. You have to, your debt to income ratio can't be like way out of whack. You can't have all this debt and just see like a video or somebody that's inspirational that's doing this and say, yes, I can also do that too. There's other things, there's other components and videos, and you see that other people that's not displayed. So whenever you're purchasing a house, regardless if you're going with the no money down program or $100 down HUD home, or a 3.5% down, or VA, USDA, whatever type of loan program that's out there, the bank still has requirements in order to give you that type of loan. Yes, there's not a lot of money that you have to invest into the property, but there's certain things, specifics that the bank's going to want to see whenever you're purchasing a house. So if you enjoyed this video, please share it. Any questions, as always, throw them in the comments. You can call me, text me, visit our website, any way you feel comfortable reaching out. So thank you guys for always supporting me, and God bless you all.